everyone. I am Sean, and welcome once again to my Horror Corner. Today, we're talking about a fun one, Ready or Not from 2019. But before we get into that, as always, let me thank you so much for watching the video. I do appreciate you taking the time to tune in and listen to me for a little while talk about horror. For those of you that have been subscribing to the channel, extra thank you to you. You guys are so great. Thank you so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to me. I love the interaction with the horror community. And you guys are just all so supportive and so kind. So thank you to those of you who have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, today's the day. Hit that button, subscribe to the channel, and help me out. Hit the like button today as well. Leave me some comments on your thoughts and opinions on this movie. Yeah, and just again, I really enjoy the interaction. So yeah, let me know what you think. But that being said, we'll go ahead and get into today's episode and today's movie. Now, this is other than my reviews on Welcome to Derry, those short episodes I've been doing. This is kind of the first time I feel like I've been solo for an episode in a while. I've had so many guests on through October, through November, but it's been great. I love having people on to talk with. It probably makes a more interesting episode than just listening to me. And so I definitely have more of that coming. But today it's just me, so you're stuck with me today. But yeah, so let's start talking about Ready or Not. Quick tagline for the film: a killer game of hide and seek. Brief synopsis: a young bride's wedding night turns into her worst nightmare when her ridiculously rich in-laws force her to play a gruesome game of hide and seek. Film was released August 21st of 2019, directed by Matt Bettinelli and Opal. Matt Bettinelli Open guy that fucked that name up already, and Tyler Gillette. Written by Gary Busick and Christopher R. Murphy. Produced by Trip Vincent, James Vanderbilt, William Sherrick, and Bradley Fisher. Cinematography done by Brett Jedkowitz. Edited by Terrell Gibson. Music by Brian Tyler. Distributed by Fox Searchlight Pictures. Runtime of 95 minutes, budget of $6 million, and $57.6 million at the box office. Let's stop there for a minute to talk about cinematography, story, score, that type of thing. First of all, I think this movie looks really good. I think it's shot well. Love the setting. This mansion is absolutely ridiculous, but at the same time very cool. So I like the setting for the film. I like this story. I felt like it was a little bit different. Good story. Cinematography is good. Score is pretty good. All positive things there. Nothing that I think is just, other than the look of this mansion, nothing that I think just really jumps out and is amazing. The special effects aren't bad. I do just really like the look of the mansion. Again, but everything looks fine, I think there. Cast for the film: Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, Elise Levesque, Nikki Guadanagi, Henry Sesme, and Andy McDowell. Cast for the movie and the characters. Let's talk about that for just a moment. Samara Weaving is absolutely amazing in this movie. She does such an incredible job. Her performance is fantastic. She's funny at times. She does a good job of playing scared and just kind of bewildered at times with everything that's going on. I think the rest of the cast does a good job too. Nobody does a bad job in this film. Everybody's pretty solid. These characters, with the exception of Samara's character Grace, this is not a very likable group of characters. They all have a tremendous amount of flaws. I don't think they're meant to be likable, with the exception of maybe um, gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. We'll get to it in a minute. The one brother, trying to see Daniel, I believe. Yeah, he has moments in the film. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself yet, but he has moments, especially towards the end of the movie, where he kind of redeems himself a little bit. The character of Samara Weaving's husband, which, gosh, I'm terrible with the names right now. Alex. Seems likable in the beginning, but not later on in the film. And again, then the rest of the family just not a likable group. Although a lot of them have some comedic moments that are pretty good, some over the top performances here and there, but they're funny. Great job. Again, cast does a fantastic job. Characters all serve their purpose, but again, Samara Weaving really steals this film. I think her performance is absolutely amazing in this movie. if I wasn't, if I had never seen this movie before, I had seen this movie once and then just rewatched it the last couple of days to prepare for this recording. If I had never seen this movie before, but I was already a fan of hers, it just upped it. I've become an even bigger fan. And if I didn't know who she was and saw this movie, I would think this, she was absolutely incredible. Again, just really like her performance. Love Samara Weaving. She does a great job. As far as any behind the scenes production notes, got a couple of things we'll mention. There is a sequel coming in April of 2026, so kind of looking forward to that. I believe Samara Weaving is returning, from what I hear, so that's pretty cool. And I really think, to be honest with you, I was trying to look through production notes, find some behind the scenes stuff, and there really just wasn't much out there for this movie, other than to just mention that sequel. So don't really have anything for that this time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the sequel, especially since she's returning. If she wasn't going to be in it, I don't know if I would be looking forward to it as much. But with her being in the film, I'm pretty excited about what they do with Ready or Not too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one next year. Let's go ahead and start walking through the film. So, opening scene, we get a young Daniel and his younger brother Alex um, in the mansion, and they are confronted by a wounded man who is trying to get them to help him. Daniel then shouts out, "He's in here!" And then a bunch of people in robes and masks arrive. The man's ends up, the guy that's already injured ends up getting shot with a spear gun, and then these people drag him away to another room. Good opening. I feel like it kind of sets the tone pretty well. You get first shot again of this mansion, and you realize that something pretty creepy is going on in here with these people in the masks and the robes. And yeah, I mean, well, I don't think this is a mind-blowing opening. It doesn't just jump out you as one of those best openings in movie history, but it serves its purpose. It's a fine opening to the film. We then get into 30 years later, and we get introduced to the character of Grace, played by Samara Weaving, and Alex and Daniel, the two young boys from the opening there. We find out that Grace and Alex are getting married. Um, she meets his family. We get a little bit of backstory on her, that she's, former, I think, like a foster child or something, doesn't have the best past, but this family is incredibly wealthy. We meet Daniel as an adult and his wife Charity. We meet their sister Emily and her husband Fitch. They also have two kids, Aunt Helene, and then of course the parents Tony and Becky. And after the marriage, Grace is informed that she has to play a game that is this family tradition, based on a deal that was made with LaBelle, a character called LaBelle. If you look up LaBelle to see what it actually means, it basically means the devil. But this family has made this deal with LaBelle that in order to keep their fortune and everything that they've become accustomed to and accomplish in their life, they have to play this game. And Grace gets to draw a card from this puzzle box, and she ends up drawing a card of hide and seek. And you definitely see immediately that this has a little bit of effect on all of the characters. Some of them seem really excited, happy about playing this game. There's others like Alex, like Daniel, who really seem distraught that this is the game that they're going to be playing. Grace seems really confused. She asks who's going to hide, who's going to seek, and the father Tony tells her that she's the newest member to the family. She's the one that gets to hide, and everybody else will look for her. And so again, this I feel like this little area of the movie, we're just kind of setting up everything that is to come. It's a good opening. Good. Sorry, it's not the opening, but fine scene. Kind of get a brief introduction to all the characters and see what each one of them are like as far as the family. We do again get that feeling from primarily Alex and even Daniel a little bit that this is not good. Grace seems pretty clueless as to what's going on, and kind of thinks this is silly, but decides to go for it. She wants to be a part of this family. She really wants them to accept her and like her, and so she goes for it. And then Grace goes off to hide. Now, once they tell her that she's going to go find a hiding place. They're going to count to 100, and then they'll come look for her. So then once she leaves the room and goes to hide, the family then begins to all accumulate weapons. There's some guns. There's like a pickaxe looking thing. Or I say a pickaxe, I guess it's more of just a huge axe. There's like a crossbow gun. all kinds of different weapons that the father Tony hands out, and the family goes and they put this record on, talking about playing hide and seek, this little music thing, and the family begins their search, and we find Grace hiding in a dumbwaiter, where she is just sitting there and kind of talking to herself, like what, how was your wedding night, and she just kind of making fun of the whole situation and thinking it's really silly, but trying to go along with it and hoping it doesn't take very long for them to find her so that they can, move on. After she sits there for a little bit, she finally kind of gets tired of sitting in there and she's like, okay, that's enough. So she climbs out of this dumbwaiter only to be grabbed by Alex. Uh, Alex is, wanting to have her hide with him, and he's going to try to explain to her what's really going on. And so the two of them go into this bedroom. They end up hiding on the other side of a bed. The character of Emily, who is Alex's sister, sees one of the maids and mistakenly thinks that's Grace and ends up shooting this maid in the head and killing her right there in the doorway of the bedroom where Alex and Grace are hiding. And then the family all shows up. They realize that Emily's made a mistake and killed the maid. So they, Emily's freaked out because she shot this maid. The family's kind of upset that this is what's happened. Um, the family also doesn't believe that Alex is participating in this game since Grace is his bride. They believe that he's staying in another room, just waiting for everything to be over. So they don't realize at this point that Alex has come out of this room and is helping Grace hide. But as the family leaves the room, Alex reveals to Grace that the hide and seek card is the one bad card that someone can draw, and that because of this, the family is under the impression that they have to kill Grace by dawn, or that they will all die themselves. That the last time this card was drawn happened to be Helene's husband Charles, and we find out that that opening scene we got of the wounded man going to a young Daniel and a young Alex, that was Charles. So he had played this game, and this is what happened to him. Grace, of course, is freaked out. Is freaked out by all this. She's upset with Alex for bringing her here and knowing this was all coming. He's trying to explain to her that he didn't have a choice. So there's starting to be some issues there. But at the same time, now Alex is wanting her to live. He's wanting to get her out of the mansion. Um, Alex he tells Grace to go through these tunnels that are under the house to try to get out. He is going to go try and shut down the security system where everything can unlock, where she can get out and get out of the gate, and that's kind of where we go from there. Again, at this point, we feel like Alex is a good guy. Yeah, it's pretty shitty of him to bring her into this situation, but we feel like he's trying to get her out of the situation. We get more, I said, of Samara Weaving's performance and just how solid she is. She's pretty funny in some of this stuff, but then also does a great job of being scared and freaked out. So, and the film's moving along. I kind of like where it's going. Yeah, and enjoying this for the most part. And I remember the first time I watched this movie, I liked it. I didn't think it was mind blowing or great or anything like that, but I liked it. So I was really looking forward to this rewatch. I've started to do this review on this movie a few times in the past, um, and then changing things up a little bit. So I was looking forward to getting to this one and doing this rewatch and going through this. And at this point, I'm on board and I'm enjoying it and I'm remembering things for the most part as far as what's happened in the film. As Grace then goes to try to get out, she almost gets caught again. Emily ends up on one side of her, the other family ends up on the other, and it looks like Grace is in a lot of trouble. But Emily, being such a bad shot, basically just causes the family on the other side of Grace to have to kind of like duck and get out of the way. And it gives Grace a minute to escape from this situation. She then ends up running into Daniel. He kind of finds her by accident, and you can tell that Daniel also doesn't really want to participate in this, but feels like he's having to. Daniel agrees to, while she tries to talk Daniel into helping her, at best, he just agrees to give her like a 10-second head start so she can try to get away, and then he's going to let everybody know that he's seen her. So she takes off again. He yells that he's found her in the study, but the family shows up and she's gone. And so there's some frustration there with Daniel now as he was unable to actually capture her. And we kind of find out that they're not really wanting to initially kill her, but that they're just wanting to wound her, and then there's this ritual they have to perform where they'll end up killing her. And so they're kind of upset with Daniel that he didn't, secure her capture at this point. Um, we then get a scene where, well, Emily ends up shooting and killing another maid on accident. So they're kind of getting frustrated with Emily as well. Grace is also able to come across a gun to arm herself a little bit, but ends up getting stuck as Alex is still trying to shut down the security system. Grace ends up getting stuck in the kitchen with the family's butler. And there's a pretty fun scene there where she's hiding on the other side of like a an island cabinet there in the middle of the kitchen. And a couple of times, this butler's listening to music and he's doing things. There's a couple of times because Grace has got this gun that he thinks he hears her, but then when he looks around this cabinet, she's moved to a different area, and so kind of a little bit of a fun cat and mouse game there between the butler and Grace. However, finally he does come across her. Alex is able to get the doors unlocked, but the butler ends up finding Grace. She, however, is able to hit him over the head with a little pot of like some boiling tea or something, and then she's able to get outside. Tony and Daniel end up securing, they get Alex and restrain him. They find out that, you he's been helping, so they try to restrain him and keep him from doing any more. Before Grace is able to get outside, there's another scene where she comes across a third maid who is hiding in this dumbwaiter. Um, the maid then ends up just kind of a silly scene, really. I don't know exactly what's happening other than Grace is wanting to hide there, and the maid doesn't want her to, so she's trying to close the dumbwaiter. She ends up crushing herself in this dumbwaiter. Kind of a silly scene, I really felt like here. Um, I guess it could be, another one. This movie does a good job of adding in some humor here and there, some good comedy, which I think is hard to do because I don't always like that when it's overdone in horror movies. I like to have a comic relief character, but I don't think that needs to be everybody being silly at times. But this movie does a pretty good job of mixing in the comedy with the horror. However, this scene with the maid and the dumbwaiter is probably my least favorite scene of the movie because I just thought it was kind of dumb and didn't make a lot of sense what this maid was doing. But other than that, yeah, I'm still really enjoying this. I loved the scene between Grace and the butler there in the kitchen. I thought that was very well done. Had a little bit of suspense to it, but it was also, like I said, a fun scene with the way they were playing it up. And then her having the little confrontation with him before she got away. Um, you get, Daniel continues to be half in, half out of the situation a little bit. You can tell, and there's still tension between him and some of the other people in the family that maybe he's not really putting forth his best effort to help accomplish this. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's a fun scene. I like the interaction between the family and the tension that's kind of going on with, is Daniel going to end up helping Grace or not really? Um, so yeah, I'm really enjoying. We're probably about the halfway point maybe in the movie now, but I'm really starting to enjoy it more and liking this rewatch and having fun with this one. And again, most of it is Samara Weaving and her performance, but I do think there's some good scenes going on. The cinematography again looks good. I like the little bit of suspense that we're getting. I like the cat and mouse that's going on. And the comedy they mix in for the most part is pretty good, with, like I said, the exception of that one scene. So I'm kind of enjoying what this movie's doing. Um, as Grace gets outside, she ends up going into a barn, and one of the kids that belong to um, Emily and her husband ends up coming into the barn. And initially, Grace, sees this child and thinks that she needs to maybe protect the child. But the boy, his name is Georgie, he ends up shooting Grace in the hand, and then she hits him after. Hits him and knocks him out, but then she ends up falling. She gets scared by a goat or something and ends up falling into this little pit where there's just a bunch of skeletons from previous times these games have been played. She is, however, able to crawl out. Now there is a good scene there. I mean, it's kind of I don't really know how to describe this kind of scene where she's trying to crawl out of this pit. She's been shot in the hand, so she's got this hole in her hand, and then she's trying to crawl out of this pit. She ends up putting her hand down on this nail, which goes up into the her already wounded hand. It looks good. It looks pretty gross and uncomfortable, so I like that scene as well. Um, from there, she ends up taking off, and now she's being pursued by this butler again. He showed up and he's basically chasing her through the woods. A little bit more cat and mouse, still good. Not as fun, I feel like, as the same situation that was going on in the kitchen earlier, but still good scene. Um, the butler ends up catching her and briefly detaining her as he shoots her with like a tranquilizer dart or something, and then he's got her in his car and he's let the family know that he's bringing her back to the house because the family is really beginning to think that she has escaped and that they're all in a lot of trouble. but they're super excited when the butler is able to restrain her and have her in his car headed back to them. However, Grace wakes up. She's able to kind of fight the butler off a little bit, causing the car to crash. The butler ends up dying there in this car crash. It looks like Grace is going to escape. However, Daniel shows up, and this time Daniel goes ahead and I think he like hits her with a gun and knocks her out. And then we see Tony also there. We kind of get the impression that had Tony not been there, that maybe Daniel would have let Grace go again. But because he knew his dad was there watching, he went ahead and restrained her this time. So they've got Grace now, and they head back to the house to perform this ritual. Um, the writers are getting ready to perform this ritual and kill her. Uh, they all start becoming very sick, and we discover that Daniel has poisoned them all with this wine they were drinking. And Alex also at the same time is able to escape where they've restrained him. Grace is able to get away again, and this time Charity is very upset with Daniel for helping Grace. As now he's kind of become a good guy here and trying to help her get away. She ends up shooting Daniel. He's laying there on the floor dying. Uh, Grace still trying to get away. Becky, the mother, ends up finding her. We kind of get a fun battle there between Grace and Becky, where Grace ends up killing Becky. Alex comes across Daniel and finds out that his brother, is dying, and then Daniel does die. Alex then shows up in the room and sees that Grace has also killed his mother, and all this time we're thinking that Alex he's been trying to help her escape, and so now he's here and he's going to try again, but now with his brother dying, with his mom being killed. And I think he tries to like hug Grace or something, and she pulls away from him. And he makes some kind of comment about "You're never going to trust me after this." And Alex goes ahead and turns, and then he ends up subduing Grace and bringing her back where the family can once again try to complete this ritual as it's getting closer to sunup, which is when they have to have this done by. Um, Through all of this that's going on, the mansion is beginning to catch on fire. That threw me off a little bit initially as to how this was happening, but okay, just an added little bit there of things to get through. But as they're trying to perform this ritual and they're getting very, very close, Grace is able to break free and escape again. And as she does this, she's still in the room with the family, but the sun has risen now and is shining in the window. Initially, nothing begins to happen as the family's freaking out, thinking that, okay, it's too late now, we're all going to die. But just as they begin to think that maybe they've been wrong this whole time, LaBelle will let them live. Then one by one, the family members begin to explode. It's it's interesting because it's kind of silly the way they just 1 minute they're talking and then their body just explodes and blood and pieces go everywhere. But at the same time, it's kind of funny as well the way it's done. I think it looks good. It's CGI, but it still doesn't look bad. And it's just kind of a fun scene. It's like I said, one by one, these family members just start exploding and dying all around until it gets down to all we have left is Grace and Alex. He's the last one. And Alex thinks that he gets to survive, that the rest of his family is dead. Grace has survived the night. He has survived the night. And, he wants them to now be able to get back together. But Grace refuses. She takes off her wedding ring and says she wants a divorce. And at that point, Alex also explodes. We get a brief. LaBelle then kind of seems to appear very, very briefly in a chair and kind of gives a nod of approval to Grace. Grace then steps outside. We hear police sirens coming. Grace lights a cigarette and just kind of sits down. She's covered in, she's still wearing her wedding dress, but now it's completely covered in blood. She's got blood all over her face. She's got pieces of people all over her. And as the police show up and ask her what happened, Grace makes the comment, "The in-laws," and the film ends. I like the ending. Again, I think this scene that's taking place here in this room where they were trying to perform the ritual and Grace escaping is a fun scene where everybody's exploding and I mean it's silly, but it's still a lot of fun. Um, I was a little put off, I think, by how many times they were going to capture Grace and her escape. I mean, in the beginning, it was fun, and that's part of it, right? I mean, we're trying to make a movie here, not a short film, and so we need some of that. The cat and mouse was fun, but after I think just I enjoyed the interactions. Like I said, her getting away from the butler a couple of times. Um, the first time when Daniel has poisoned everybody and that's how she's able to escape, that's fine. But then them catching her and bringing her back in, and this time when she escapes, she's just able to break the restraints. I do remember thinking, watching this a couple of days ago, like, okay, how many times are we going to do this? How many captures, restrain, escape are we going to have? I think if they'd have gone any more, it probably would have hurt the film, because with this last one, it started to bug me a little bit, but it was a good time to shut it off. And then, like I said, the scene immediately following where the family members start just exploding is fun. So, um, overall, that's Ready or Not. Overall, I like this film. I like the way it's done. Again, I like the story. I like the cinematography. Absolutely love Samara Weaving. They do a good job of mixing in this is not a scary movie, but they do a good job of mixing in some action, some suspense, maybe some tense moments, along with some good humor. So I like the way a lot of that is done together. Um, Overall, yeah, this is a pretty good movie. I don't think this is an excellent movie. I don't, it's not a 10, it's not a 9, probably not even an 8, but it is a really good movie. I do enjoy it. I'll definitely watch it again, and I'm excited about the sequel. So I think for my scale of 1 to 10, I'll give Ready or Not a 7. It's a good movie. Little above average. Again, not a great movie, but had it not been Samara Weaving in this film, I don't think it would have been as good, because I really think that her performance is a lot of what makes this movie. Again, the cinematography is good. I mean, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but the cinematography is good. The story is good. There are some good things about it, but I just feel like she does such an incredible job that without her, the movie probably would have been more of like just a middle of the road, um, 5 or 6 rating for me. But she's so fantastic in it that gets it up to a 7. I love Samara Weaving in this film, and overall, like I said, I really like this movie. So I want to know what you think about Ready or Not from 2019. If you've seen this movie, leave me some comments. Tell me your thoughts on the film. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? What do you think of Samara Weaving? I really do appreciate the comments that people leave. I love the interaction, seeing other people's thoughts on this film as well. That's one of my favorite parts about doing this. So please hit that like button today, and leave me some comments on what your thoughts are on Ready or Not. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. There's a lot of fun stuff coming. In just a couple of days, my episode for Welcome to Derry, episode 4, will be up. So we'll have that. Next week, a couple of really fun episodes that I'm looking forward to. My friends Rob and Kaylee from That Horror Couple are going to be on with me twice next week. We're going to be talking about Halloween 2 from 1981, and then we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving, the Eli Roth film. And that episode will actually drop Thanksgiving morning. So, yeah, a couple of fun episodes next week with them coming on. I guess a review in just a couple of days on episode 4 of Welcome to Derry. A couple of days after Thanksgiving, I'll have a review on episode 5 of Welcome to Derry. So a lot of fun stuff coming up as we get ready to wrap up November, and then December is going to be great as well. Already talking with, I know Brendan from Our Life in Horror is going to come on. We're going to talk about Dead Snow. That's a fun episode that I'm looking forward to. Isaiah from Bitter Wolf is going to be on with me in December to talk about the Black Christmas film from 2019. Sarah and Kelly from the Final Girls podcast will be back in December. We'll be talking about classic slasher Alice Sweet Alice. I have a live stream coming next month. It's going to be a fun night on December 11th, where Our Life in Horror, That Horror Couple, and then Bo and Kayla from Critic After Dark and Mrs. Critic After Dark are all going to come on, and we're going to play some trivia. That's going to be fun. That's coming next month. Aaron from A&B Horror Movies, he and I are going to be talking about the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. Just a lot of fun episodes coming in December. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything, and you can get all of them. Follow me on social media. I'm pretty much on everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok. I have a letterbox. Just search Sean's Horror Corner. You can find any of the social media channels. So, yeah, I think that about wraps up this episode. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Help me to continue to grow the channel. Right now, I'm putting out about 3 episodes a week, Mondays and Thursdays on horror movies, and then Saturday or Sunday on the Welcome to Derry thing. I think I'm even once I get through Welcome to Derry. I think getting into next year, I'm going to try to continue to go about 3 episodes a week. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm so sorry, my dog just heard someone outside. But yeah, that will wrap this up. So like, subscribe, follow on social media, leave me some comments, and yeah, I will see everyone soon. Thank you.